Hey guys, my name is Taylor and I'll be talking to you about something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is the sport of cheerleading. As a former competitive cheerleader, I know how time consuming, stressful, and dedicating the sport can really be. But I also can tell you how fun, addicting, and rewarding it also is. While I'm talking to you, I'll tell you a little bit of a brief history, the difference between high school, collegiate, and all star cheerleading, and also some of the rules and regulations of how they differ and how they kind of are the same at the same time. Um, but before I tell you all the rules and stuff, let me go ahead and get the history out of the way, which is it all started in 1880 at Princeton University with an all male pep squad. Yeah, I said it, all guys, like that's how it started with boys. In 1884, Thomas Peoples took his cheers to the University of Minnesota, also known as U of M. And in 1898, I got University of Minnesota was out on a really bad losing streak, and a guy named Johnny Campbell picked up his megaphone and wailed into the crowd the first ever organized cheer, which was rah rah rah, hoorah hoorah, um, Skew varsity varsity Minnesota. Um, in 1923, they started letting women join the team at U of M, but it wasn't until the 1940s that they were the majority of the sport like they are now. In 1961, UCA, NCA, National Cheerleading Association, began their first ever training camps, like, cheer camp. And about 7 years later, they added up and about 7 years later, they added the music to the skills that they had taught the girls, and that became the first ever cheerleading routine. And a couple years after that, they did the first ever Universal Cheerleading Association competition, which is now called like nationals, and it's a real big thing in the collegiate world. In 1990, about 1.7 million athletes were participating in the sport of cheerleading, and that same year they brought all-star cheerleading into the United States. And in 2004, the United States All-Star Federalization had their first ever Worlds competition. In this sport, like I told you earlier, there are many different ways to participate. There's the all-star, the high school, and the collegiate ways. I'm gonna start telling you about high school. High school is girls and guys that cheer for their school. Like they wear the school colors. You see them at the football games and stuff. But what you don't see is how hard they actually do practice. They practice every day for competitions that they might have on Saturday. A 2.5 minute routine costs you a 2.5 hour practice 5 days a week. um, on an all-star level, this is a little bit more difficult because they have to do so many things at such a little time. Also, all-star levels have they can have up to 32 people on the floor at the same time, but they compete on the spring floor, unlike collegiate and high school levels, which makes it a lot easier for them to tumble and jump and do other things. On a collegiate level, these people have been performing their whole entire life. Like, there's no stopping a collegiate team. They've done all stars, they've done high school, so they have the experience to do these things, and it's a little bit more advanced than the other teams. The next thing I'll talk to you about would have to be the rules. Some of the rules are really different, but some of them are kind of the same. In the case of high school, you can't do a dive roll, which is just you're diving into like a somersault. But you can't do that because your head goes under your waist, which is an inversion, and those are illegal in high school. Collegiate, you can do that, and it's okay on the spring, and it's okay on the all star floor. But it's also they just want you to be good sportsmanship. Like you can get kicked out of a competition for doing things like that, like not participating and booing other teams off the map. But lastly, I would like to tell you guys that I really enjoy the sport, and that's why I would like to talk to you guys about it, because not only was I a former cheerleader, like it was my life for a long time, and I really enjoyed it, and I would really like to express to you guys how much I loved it. Thanks for listening.